Welcome to Money Matures, guys, where we talk about all things money, the good, the bad, the ugly, where we just try to learn every day and get better and educate each other. Got a good friend of mine, Tony, on today. We're going to talk about, we're going to go a little bit tit for tat, a little back and forth. We're going to talk about money. We're also going to talk about his company, Throne of Grace. But Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm Tony James, founder and designer of Throne of Grace Clothing, where we're creating unapologetic streetwear for faith-driven visionaries. So our mission is really creating fashion-forward garments that are pretty much an outward expression of an inward heart for those who are believers and also those who aren't believers who just love cool and fashion-forward streetwear. So yeah, that's Throne of Grace.
I love it. I love it. I have a few of his designs. I'm trying to get a few more. I do have an exclusive. We're not going to talk about that one. We're not going to talk about that right now.
Yeah, not right now.
But anyway, man, I've been a fan of what you do for a long time. Just your energy and just how you roll, man. I'm just going to tell you, man, from jump, you practice what you preach, which I really respect. I appreciate that a lot. So let's get into some questions, man. We'll do a little back and forth. Is that cool?
Let's do it. I'm down.
First question I want to ask you, man, is I know we talk a lot, but what inspired you to start Throne of Grace?
Yeah, it's a great question. But before I say that, thank you for having me. No, this is pretty cool. I've admired you as a father, as a pillar in the community. I've just been able to watch you raise your kid and learn so much from you. So for you to do what you do and talk about money and finances, I knew I needed to sneak in here. I knew I needed to follow you and peep what you're saying because you've always moved with integrity. So I know that you're doing that in your business. So thank you for just everything, for being my friend, being supportive. Yeah, you were front row Phoenix Fashion Week, cheering me on, which is
that was fun.
Absolutely one of my favorite memories of that night, aside from winning, was seeing your reaction and your support. It just meant the world to me, and it just went through in my head. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Hey, that means the world to me, my boy. And it's mutual, man, for real. As a father, I see the same thing in you, man, and as a person, man. So I think birds of a feather flock together. So that's a good thing.
That's it. Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
But as far as the brand goes, how Throne of Grace came about is I've always been into fashion. I don't know how much time we have, so I'll kind of just condense it a little bit. But I pursued fashion in high school and then on to college, and teachers in high school seen something in me and they all pushed for me to go in that direction. But it was always about me. I wanted to be a designer who was idolized and admired. I wanted Tony James to be a household name. I wanted fame. I wanted all the stuff that comes with this Hollywood, lifestyle, if you will. And so as I pursued fashion early on with that mindset, I never saw anything open up. I never saw anything transpire. It was just door after door would close, education wise, opportunity wise, creating the brand. So I kind of gave up on it. I said, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, and went and did a plethora of other things. And when I went and found God, right, I was on this faith journey and I found my relationship with Jesus. I remember feeling this tug in my heart that said, hey, you remember that fashion thing? It's not a coincidence. It's not an accident. That's you, but go and do it, but make it about me. And out of obedience, I said, okay, let's do this. Right. So I started a fashion brand. I wanted it to be about God centered. And so that's where Throne of Grace came about. Really wanting to highlight what God had already given me, or the gift he's already given me, but edify him. Be a reminder to the world of his grace, of his love, without me being in the way. So as I went to church, I was a little older going into church. So I was already tatted up, already had, outfits. I didn't have suits. And so going into church, originally I did kind of feel like an outcast, and people looked down on me, had comments about my hats and my tattoos. And so I knew once I started that brand that God was calling me to do, that it was also for those individuals who felt left out.
Yeah.
Cause I also thought about leaving the faith, because I was like, well, maybe I need to come back when I'm 80.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I'm getting the polyester Wranglers in the boat, you know what I mean? That's when I need to come back.
You come back.
Yeah. Cause they weren't too happy, leaving church and the outfits and the tattoos and bumping Jim Jones and just being a hot mess trying to figure it all out. But that helped push what I wanted to do, is also to be a voice for that young generation. So that's how Throne of Grace came about.
Well, man, I love it. I as an outsider looking in, as a spectator, just watching how the youth responds to you and how the youth responds to your son. Your son is an inspiration as well. The way just you embody you embody the culture, man. You embody your brand, and you carry yourself at a high level, and I love it, man. To transpose that to money, you mentioned how nothing came to you when you were doing it for self.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But then when you started doing for God, things started changing. So that the plan wasn't wrong, but how you were doing the plan was wrong. Am I saying that about right?
Yeah. No, I definitely didn't have the correct purpose attached to it.
And it the same thing happens with money, man. If you're not a good steward of your money, if you're not a good steward of the blessings that God gives you,
sure,
it can be taken away.
Yeah, no,
it'll be taken away real quick.
No, yeah, very quick. I think poor stewardship of anything that God has called you to do is detrimental, right? It's already ended before it started. So with Throne of Grace, and we're now, I would say, thriving a little bit. Doors are opening up, and sales are being made, and we're in a few stores and things like that.
Where those stores at?
So we're
Phoenix. We're located in Phoenix for anybody watching outside, but go ahead.
Yeah, so we're in Studio 22, which is in Chandler Mall.
Nice.
And then we also have a couple pieces or a piece in Guest List in Scottsdale Fashion Square. So you can find some jorts there. Guest List is amazing. Ryan of Guest List is an incredible dude, a humble dude, but someone that I just really admire in the fashion industry, business industry. As well as Allie at Studio 22. She's young. She just graduated, but she has her own streetwear boutique and she's killing it. So I'm super thankful for them for giving me opportunity and seeing something maybe in myself that I didn't even see. But with that comes, hey, there's a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess my question to you is like, what is a simple budgeting rule I can use to start managing my money like today? Right. Because
well, that it kind of depends on a few different things. So it depends on where you're starting. Are we starting at zero? Are we starting in debt? Where are we starting at? Right. So I'll answer it kind of generally.
Sure.
The most important thing that you or anybody should know, and what really helped me when I finally started figuring stuff out is knowing the number. When I say knowing the number, I mean, you got to know your plus or minus, meaning if you have X amount of dollars going out, and you have X amount of dollars going in, and you don't know what that difference is, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So the biggest thing I would tell anybody is overspending or not budgeting or not being aware of the number is a detriment to you. And it might be better than you think it is once you do the numbers, once you type it up.
Sure.
It might be worse. But regardless, you need to know it. Yeah. Because as soon as you know, okay, when I say budget, I mean, you gotta write down everything. Yeah. Your streaming services, the 3 that you don't even know you still have, your Netflix, your gas, your groceries, your rent, your mortgage, whatever it may be, your car note, your car insurance, your son's. One of my most expensive bills is feeding my child. Okay. And I'm talking, it's crazy. So you've got you really have to know what it is. You got an Excel sheet, do it on whatever you got to do, and you got to get that number, and you got to memorize that number, and then you got to understand how much money you're bringing in.
Yeah.
And after taxes, what are we bringing in? What's hitting the checking account?
That's good.
And as soon as you know that, there's power in knowing that.
Right.
There also might be fear in it because you might realize more is going out than coming in.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you keep moving like that, it's just gonna dig you deeper.
Right.
So as soon as you know the number, knowing the number is key. And then at that point, if you're starting at zero, let's say you're plus, let's say you got 4,000 going out every month and you got 6,000 coming in. We got $2,000.
Yeah.
Awesome. Most people don't have that, but if you do,
sure,
we need to figure out how much of that we can start doing something with, how much we can start saving, how much we can start stacking. If we got more going out than coming in and we're floating credit cards to get us by, which a lot of people do, then now we have to have a different conversation.
Yeah.
We have to, as a family unit, we got to come together and figure out what are we going to cut out. We got to figure out if somebody's got to pick up a few more extra hours at work, or we got to figure out if we got to downsize.
Hey.
It's uncomfortable to talk about.
It is.
But more money can't go out than coming in.
And it feels like being honest with yourself is the best, because you're just sweeping it under the rug.
You're running from it.
Yeah.
And I did it for years, for the record. This isn't a holier than now. I know all things. I've never made financial mistakes. I could tell you with 100% certainty, I've done all the dumb shit you could do with money. Like, I've done it. I've done it and done it well. But I think that I had to learn, and some of us have to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And I think that, I'm blessed in the sense that when I think, God guides me in a certain way where I think he gives me things when I am mature enough or ready for it. And I think some of the positions that I've had in the recent years, I don't think he would have blessed me with had I not got my stuff together. I really don't.
That's good.
Yeah. And I think that we've all been in debt or had those struggles, and you just have to find out what it is, find out what your number is, and then go from there. And then at that point, you got to put a plan together, and we figure it out from there.
That's good, right? Because even as creatives, our job is to create things, right? And to think outside the box. And we're hyper focused on our next creation. Yep. We don't necessarily understand business savviness. We don't know how to run the business, we know how to have a concept, and we know how to create that concept into a product. But once that product goes out to the world, how then do we steward that? And that's one thing I struggled with as a creative, is like, I can make you some clothes, but how do I manage or steward that money once it comes in to continue making more clothes, to have a business, to have a brand? So that's one thing I struggled with early on, is like, and honestly, I didn't care. When I first started, I was just hyped that someone was going to wear something that was a thought in my head.
Yeah. That's got to be exciting.
I didn't care. I would just put the money in my pocket. I wasn't managing anything. I wasn't writing anything down. I was just like, hey, nah, it's cool. People are buying my stuff, right? But I wonder how better off I could have been early on if I was holding myself accountable financially, and making smarter decisions. With, again, I didn't grow up with that. Yeah. No one taught me that.
Nobody taught me.
Like, I literally got married at like 25, and all my money was in a mattress.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not joking. I respect. She was like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean what I'm doing? Like, everything's paid for.
Right.
But I never grew up with that type of, that financial literacy.
And I didn't either. And that's why I learned a lot of hard lessons. I think that the problem is talking about money is kind of taboo, like nobody, well, in my household, my mother didn't have money to talk about. So what did she, when you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're working two jobs to put food on the table, how do you teach somebody about money? It's just that simple. And it's a never ending repeated cycle if we don't put a foot down. And I would ask people out there, especially anybody with children or kids, ask yourself if you're stressed out about money, if you're stressed out about how you're handling money, and ask yourself, would you want your kids to feel that way? And if your answer is no, then you got to make the change, because if you don't, they're going to do the same thing you've been doing. So that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I wanted to try to break that chain, right? My wife and I want to break that chain of just being irresponsible, by not teaching our kids. So our kids are learning early with debit cards and how to stay away from credit cards, or what they do, and understanding credit. So yeah, we're taking on the responsibility so they don't continue having to learn by falling on their face, per se.
Heck yeah. So I think that's the best lesson we can do, man. You gotta teach the kids.
And the kids know. My daughter, Christabel, she's 10. She has her own jewelry business. She sets up pop-up shops. She's making lemonade. She's doing anything and everything she can do to hustle in a positive way. And it's been so encouraging, because it's like we're teaching young entrepreneurs. And, my son, Gio, he gets into modeling. He does his thing. He's so busy with school and stuff. But they're sharp kids. So shout out to Gio and Christabel.
To be an entrepreneur is a beautiful thing, I think. And it's not for the faint-hearted, I don't think. And to see your kid doing it,
yeah,
that to me has got to be, that would make my day, man. That's awesome to hear. So, well, speaking on that, have you always been into fashion? I mean, you touched on it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Like, is it always been something you're into?
Oddly enough, yeah, it's always been something I've been into. I mean, my dad wasn't a fashion dude at all. He just kind of wore whatever he needed to get it by at, you know what I mean? Like his old size 14 Chucks had a hole in them for like 7 years. And he was like, nah, they still lace up though.
Yeah. Right.
But really how it started for me is I seen like the neighborhood, they would call them like doughboys, right? Like, or the gangsters in the neighborhood. And they always had the British Knights on and the creased khakis, and they would match their Jordan 3s. And I was always like impressed with that. And being someone who didn't have any of that,
Yep.
I always admired that. So I would go to thrift stores with my mom. And so what I would try to do is shop in the thrift stores to recreate something cool by going back to the block and not letting people realize that I went to a thrift store. So I learned to be creative. I learned how to put pieces together. I learned about different fabrics and different prints. I tried to stay on trend so I can like reinterpret that. So my love for fashion started early out of necessity to not look broke and get made fun of.
Yeah.
But it turned into something I just love to do. So I have always been into fashion. And then how it really started as far as a career though is in high school. I was always looked at as, oh dude, Tone puts pieces together. You know, he's a fly dude. And light-skinned dudes win easily sometimes. And so that's where I was. But how it started is I was in, weight training class in PE?
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this weight room, this locker room, it stinks. These dudes are disgusting. Nobody's taking their uniform home. I'm done being in here.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go sweaty messing up this outfit to the next class.
Gotcha.
So I went to my counselor and was like, was there something else I can do other than weightlifting and PE? And she's like, oh, we just started this fashion merchandising class.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound like it. That doesn't sound appealing. She's like, yeah, you probably won't like that. Cause honestly, as of right now, I think it's like 97% girls. And I was like, whew.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah. What hallway? What hallway?
What's the room number?
Yeah. So as a 6-year-old boy, I was like, got him.
Got him.
And so, yeah, I ended up signing up for that class and
I would have joined home ec for the same reason.
No. Yeah. And even when I was done with fashion merchandise, I took interior design.
Hey, yeah,
Because it was the same. Yeah. So, but what I loved is once I went into that class, Miss So Cutesy, I'll never forget her. Shout out to her. She really poured into me. But she was really highlighting like what I was wearing on a daily basis and how I was putting things together and accessorizing. And oftentimes she would use me as an example in the class. So with her leadership and love and just pouring into me, I was able to like fall deeper in love with fashion. And she was the first person that was like, you can do a career out of this. You can become a designer. You can become a visual displayer. You can become a stylist. And I hope that you pursue it. And she was actually the first person to write a letter of like reference and referral to the school, FITM, which is a Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising.
Okay.
So that's where not only did I just fall deeper in love with fashion, but that's when I understood it could possibly be a career for me.
Yeah. That's dope.
So
yeah, me, I mean, you know me. I wear plain tees.
It's like an $80 plain tee though. Pretty sure it's not, it is. It's only like the best fabric. It's imported from Saudi Arabia.
Oh no. I mean, it's nice. It's soft on the skin.
See, that's what I'm talking about. No.
But no, I'm very simple. But I always love to see what you rocking, man. Cause when you put a fit together, man, I'm like, boy, like I always tell my son, if you want to know how to get a 6-pack, talk to somebody with a 6-pack. I ain't the one. If you want to know about money, I can help you out. If you want to know about fashion, if he said, hey, what should I match out of there? You got to call Tony, bro. Don't let you know.
I'll help. I'll throw some advice out there.
I like it.
But you guys were always stylish as a family.
Well, that's Alicia. Listen, Alicia is the style in the house, and we're just like pieces around her. Like,
Just,
you know what I'm saying?
Your accessories.
We're accessories. I mean, I couldn't say it any better. We're accessories. She's stunning, and she's in her style. I ask her anything. Babe, does this go? Like, see that, Michael? You got a black shirt on. It goes with everything.
There. Then brutally honest, I can tell. She'll keep it 1,000.
Yes, she will. That's a fact.
So yeah, no, even with that, like, I don't want to harbor on me too much, but you mentioned about, saving money. I guess my other question to go back to that is, what is the difference between simply saving money and investing, and like which one should I or someone in my position as a creative do first?
Well, saving, investing, or how do I put this? Most people spend too much. So saving is better than spending, and investing is better than saving. And the reason that is because if you're going to start somewhere, we need to start with saving. So let's start there, right? But here's the problem with just saving in and of itself. To give you an analogy, if I saved $20,000 15 years ago, okay, and I just have it sitting in an account and it's getting less than 1% interest because I don't have it in a decent interest-bearing account. It's just in my regular bank account. Well, if I save that for 15 years, I'm going to have, I don't know, 21,000, maybe probably not even that.
So like $1,000.
It's probably not even going to be that much. But here's the problem. 15 years ago, you could buy a house in Phoenix, a nice house for 200,000.
Right.
That same house is going to go for 450 now. So now what is that $20,000?
So the money doesn't hold weight.
It actually loses value.
Sure.
This is what I need. This is what people need to understand is money loses value. If that money in your mattress lost value, right? So now, again, I will stand on this. Most people don't even save. So if you're out there saving, so good on you. Like I love it. Let's roll with it. But now we got to take it to the next level. Investing is making your money work for you, giving your money a job.
That's good.
Your money clocks in every day.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what your money's doing, you're not going to know where it went. So you've got to give your money a job. And that's what investing is. It's basically buying an index fund or a stock or whatever you want to invest your money in. It's growing every single day while you're creating.
Yeah.
Your money is creating more money for you.
That's good.
Okay. Yeah. And as a creator, that should inspire you. That should be something that excites you because I can't tell you how many days. I mean, I go to work every day too. I can't tell you how many days I'll come home from work and I ain't make any money. I'm commission only. But then I look at my brokerage account. I was like, oh, I did make money today.
That's good.
I didn't make it. Yeah. I didn't make it on my W-2 today.
Sure.
But I made money today. And so that's the difference between investing. We got to start saving. That's imperative. You need to save, but you've got to find ways to invest, and that's it's just imperative.
And I guess that's the scary part, right? It's like when you hear the word investment, you hear, yeah, I think it's a positive, right? And the money's going to work for you. But you also, it also has that, I guess, maybe stigma to it that it's also a gamble. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's always the thought that I have. And I know other people have had is like, the minute I hear investing, I'm like, well, there's a possibility I can lose this. Yeah. If something goes bad, is there a safe way, or a way to mitigate loss in any way?
Or the easiest way to mitigate risk is going to be with probably an index fund. An index fund is just like buying. Instead of you having to do a whole bunch of research on a company, that's what scares people away from investing, I think, is they don't know, they don't have the time to track it. They don't have the time to invest it. They don't have the time to know if it's a company that mirrors their values, that they want to be invested in, all of these things. So if you don't want to do that, then your best bet is to invest in an index fund. An index fund is like buying, like an S&P 500 index fund is like buying stock in the top 500 companies in the nation.
Okay.
So if one company, starts acting crazy, it's not going to take it. You're not going to take as big of a hit. Now, if I have all my stock in that one company and that CEO has an affair and it gets all over CNN and all of a sudden this the stock tanks, well, all my money tanks with it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
No, that does.
So that, in my opinion, is the safest way. You can get index funds, S&P 500 funds. You even can get a whole market index fund where it's literally you buy up to 3,200 companies, and we just kind of let it roll. And the average with the S&P 500 is 10.5, I think, over the last 60, 70 years. So now it goes like this, mind you.
Sure.
See how that goes.
Right.
So it might be up 30% 1 month or 1 year, down 20% the next, up 40% 1 year, down 30% the next, or it could ride 5 years. You know what I mean? So it has its ups and downs. So the most important thing when it comes to investing is You don't want to invest money that you need right away. You need to invest money that you don't need. In my mind, once I put money in my brokerage account, I don't got any more money.
That's good.
That money's gone.
Right.
That's not my money. That's my future's money. That's my son's.
Smart.
That's my son. That's my grandkids' money.
Yeah.
That's my retirement money. That's my travel money.
That's good.
That's not my. I haven't earned the right to spend that money yet.
That's not the dibble dabble.
This is my point.
That's not the Travis Scott money.
You should stop.
We're gonna have to pass on that latest draw. So, but I'm sure they'll deliver it.
All right, so let's do that. Let me ask this question: what's the most challenging part about being an entrepreneur in fashion?
Ooh, okay. That's a good question. That's a loaded question, but I think the most challenging part about it is obviously with fashion and a brand, I think you stand for something and you have a foundation that's based on something that people can identify with or know you as. And that can be moved or swayed depending on how the world is. Right. And as an example, as a faith-based streetwear clothing line, if the world is saying, hey, Christians are bad, then there's a possibility that I could take a hit because of that. And when I stand in the fashion industry circles, it's kind of like, oh, there goes that guy, so you do get a lot of shade like that. And I have gotten it being in the fashion industry. It's like, oh, here comes the Christian designer. And it's like, no, I'm just a designer. I just happen to be Christian.
It's almost like you're labeled that way, which you're a faith-based company.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be like your, I don't know. I guess I don't know how to say that, but it shouldn't isolate you.
It shouldn't, but some stores might shun away for it, right? Streetwear and Christianity, or even like hip hop and Christianity. I think, CHH rappers kind of get left out of certain rooms because they're like, yo, we don't want to hear that Jesus name.
Yeah.
So the same thing with the fashion industry. People are like, I don't want to hear that or see that Jesus shirt.
Yeah.
But God's going to make a way no matter what. But I think that's one of the struggles as an entrepreneur in the fashion business is just that, where you can be isolated for your viewpoints or looked down at, or models might not want to work with you because they think you lean a certain way, or businesses think you might lean a certain way. So I think that's probably the toughest part about it. But I mean, the blessing in it is that it's okay because this is not for you. It's for, my set of people that I'm designing who are in mind when I'm designing. So it could be a gift and a curse, so to speak, but nonetheless, I think can be a huge challenge. But I guess with challenges coming in the fashion industry, it's like you never know what tomorrow's going to look like. One day we can be thriving, the next we won't be. We can. I guess my question for you financially is, right, when there's so much risk involved in being an entrepreneur and you have so much invested in it, I guess what's the smartest way? Or should I keep an emergency fund? And if I do, what does that look like? What's the best and safest place for me to have an emergency fund in the event that, the fashion doesn't work out?
Well, I'm going to spin that another way. You should have an emergency fund for the event that fashion does work out.
That's good.
Okay. Because along the way, you're going to have hurdles, right? And so with an emergency fund, you should have quick access to it. That's why it's emergency fund, right? Which is why you don't want your emergency fund to be stocks, because you have to sell the stock, wait for it to, and you can't get it too quickly. It's not a good emergency fund.
And so it's not an index.
Yeah, you don't want it. No, that money's gone. Remember, I told you,
Out of sight,
that money gone. You don't even have that money.
Look, I'm learning.
What is that money? You don't even have it.
I'm learning. I'm getting $1 coffee tickets. You know, Starbucks. I'm making coffee at home this week, so
that's the best part. Is your emergency fund is for the rainy days. Is for the days when. Let me answer the question point blank first. I think you should have 3 to 6 months. Remember going back to question 1, right? Where you know your number, right? Sure. What's your number?
Yeah.
And I mean, your number is everything: bills, groceries, gas, power, rent, mortgage, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. You know that number. You take that number, you times it by 6. That's how much you should have in your emergency fund. Maybe 3 or 4, depending on the person. And the reason we want that money there, and where the safest place to put it, my recommendation would be to put it in a brokerage account, because it will build while you're building up your emergency fund. You're practicing putting it into your brokerage account. When it goes into your brokerage account, you can open an interest-bearing account. You get like 2.75, 4.5. It depends on the account. You can get upwards. I've seen accounts upwards of 5% cash, interest on your money, which is great. You have access to it if you need it, and then you're getting a high interest rate off of it, right? So you build up 3 to 6 months, and that way, if something happens, you have that money ready to go. If work slows down for a little bit, or for somebody out there who maybe gets laid off and has to find another job, or gets tired of their boss and just wants to leave, whatever the case may be, that's what we use that money for. Yeah. And then when that happens, hopefully it doesn't happen for a while, but when it happens, you use that and then you rebuild it back up. And once you're back on track, and then you get back to investing what's left, what's above that, essentially. Yep, that's good. But what we don't want to do is invest everything, because then if you do have a rainy day, you're going to have to sell stock, and you're not going to get the money quickly. And then you're going to have to pay tax on your gains, and it's just going to create a taxable event that you didn't need to create.
So you don't get as much money back.
No, you're going to get more money back, because you're going to get your gains too, but you're going to pay taxes on that's a whole nother story. We'll get seeing it.
Yeah, you're out here frying. You're out here frying my brain. And honestly, like, another challenging part about entrepreneurship too, like in fashion, I kind of overlooked this, but is for us, we do a lot of our manufacturing in Pakistan. And this is something I never thought about, right? Mm-hmm. But now as an entrepreneur, I'm tuned into what the world's doing. Before, I'm like, I don't care. It's not happening in America. It's none of my business.
Right.
But even recently, when India and Pakistan started beef, it shut warehouses down in Pakistan who manufacture our clothes.
That makes sense.
So I'm reaching out to them, like, first and foremost, are you guys good? Are you safe? Because we build rapport and we understand we're family men first. And so that slowed down production for a minute. And so I would never even think about that. I'm like, yeah, but no, whatever happens in the world can truly affect your everyday life, your business, even on a 9 to 5. We don't realize that. So I think that's so important that you mentioned the emergency funds and how to access that and where to put them, because you never know. You could be the best at what you do, but there's so many outside sources that will affect your ability to do that.
Yep.
That will leave you hurting. So
I always say control the controllables, man. That's something you can control.
Yeah.
And some people are like, I don't want to plan for the worst. I was like, you need to have something. And in the best case scenario, you never have to use it. Cool. You still got it. Awesome. Congratulations. Who's ever mad about having extra money?
Right.
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 So that's just my stance. You got to save money. You got to put as much as you can away, for sure.
And you know what? I think this was the biggest thing for me growing up and coming from a particular culture. It was, we rather look like we have money than actually have money. Yeah. And I think that was a big struggle. It's like, well, if I have Jordans and the right car and the right chains, then people are going to think I have money, although my account is empty.
Yeah.
So I had to learn as an adult that, dude, no, it's okay to drive that HHR. You don't have to live up to someone else's expectations.
Oh, and it's gotten so much worse with social media, bro. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, and this is for everybody out there. That person you're looking at with the nice cars and the big house and is talking about their money all the time, they're broke.
Oh, yeah.
The chances are they're broke.
Yeah.
And it's a facade. And you're sitting here looking at something that you want to be, and it's not real. And social media just inflates that so much, and it's crazy. And we've all done it. The whole keeping up with the Joneses, that's been a thing forever. Sure. I've done it myself. Yeah. Like, my friend gets a new car. Man, Terrell, he'll laugh at this. We used to play a game, bro. We used to play a game. My boy would get a new whip. He'd bring it to my house, knowing damn well that I'm going to be like, okay, all right, okay, I got that. A week later, I'm going to his house with the car. That's the dumbest thing you could do. It's retarded. But it's especially, I feel like if you don't come from money or if you've never had it, I think we fall into the trap of we want, the things we can't have.
Yeah.
And then we let that guide our financial decisions. And it gets us in a lot of trouble. It got me in a lot of trouble. We start saying things like, oh, I deserve this.
Sure.
Oh, I work hard. I deserve this. Or you never had it, so it's nostalgic, so you got to get it.
Right.
Which is where my shoe problem started. But anyway.
But even in like in a faith-based area, people are like, oh, I'm blessed. God blessed me with this car. And it's like, did he though? Like that's a $1,200 payment. And did this. So it's not necessarily a blessing. I mean, I get it, but we got to steward things properly, right? And I got a young buddy. He's a young guy, Gen Zer. Yeah. And he drives a little luxury car and that's his identity. And he's like, dude, why do you drive a HHR? And I'm like, because it's paid off and I don't care how I look. And he's like, well, are you afraid of people are going to think? And it's like, well, people shouldn't judge me based on what I drive, but who I am, right? And what I have to offer the world. And so every time I tell him that, he sits there and looks dumb. He's like, no, I'm just going to get in my Infinity and go.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Having been over leveraged before, the suffocating feeling of you have all this stuff, but you can't even enjoy it.
Sure.
Because
it's holy.
You're not saying it to yourself.
Yeah.
But you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have all this stuff.
Yeah.
But you work a job you hate to pay for all the stuff you have.
But you're not.
And you're miserable.
Right. Right.
And that's where I think, God tries to teach us a lesson in the sense that like, we have to take his blessings and we do have to be good stewards of everything we do,
Right.
And money is one of those things that it's probably the most important thing you can talk. Let me be careful. It's one of the most important things we can talk to our family about, our friends, but nobody wants to talk about. Same thing you were talking about when you were saying how, you get labeled as the Christian designer, right? So the conversation changes. Well, I go through the same thing. When somebody's doing stupid stuff with money, I can't help myself. I'm like,
it's hard.
Come on. And then nobody want me. Come on, Mike, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like somebody cut to me, I got a raise, so I got a new car. I'm like,
yeah.
So you gave yourself another payment?
Right.
Like make it make sense. But this is what we do. And we see value in material stuff.
And I think
we do care what people think about us.
We do.
And what the most powerful investor and the most powerful person is the one who just stops giving a crap what people think, man.
Oh, yeah. That's when you thrive the most, right?
You have to.
And I'm fortunate enough to look at things kind of biblically as much as possible, right? And like, what is it? Philippians 4:13. It's highly used. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And it's used in a manner of like physically doing something. But if you look at the context of what Paul's talking about, he's talking about contentment. He's talking about, as I'm chained to this bar in prison, I can do all things by being content. I can still preach the gospel. I can still have the joy of the Lord in my heart. Yeah. And so once I understood that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me is more about being content, not living up to the Joneses, but saying, you know what? I don't need a fancy car. My joy comes from the Lord, right? Like I don't need all these material things to fill a void that only God can fill. So that helped me out tremendously where I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll drive this HHR. Yeah. Whereas 3 years before that, somebody told me to drive, I'd be like, you're crazy. I'm not even driving the passenger seat with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's contentment and understanding.
Well, I drive a 2016 Nissan Altima, so I know. All right.
I'm sure there's a Maybach somewhere.
No, but there's all right. No, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Don't put that energy on me. No, I don't do cars. I do car. I did, but I don't anymore. So let me ask this. What's the most gratifying part about being an entrepreneur?
Oh, I mean, I think there's freedom in it. I think there's this ability to be able to be creative and be who I feel God has called me to be and to be obedient to that calling. But I think on a surface level, I think the best part is that it starts with a concept. It starts with a thought in your own mind between you and your own brain, right? It's like, what if I did this? But then to take that concept and then turn it into a product. It's so gratifying. I can't explain it. to the point where you're like, hey, this was just a thought, but now it's in my hand. And then when you step that up and you're like, now it's in that store, now you're driving down the street and it's like, now it's on that person's back. It's like, I think that's the most gratifying thing, is to see that you were able to do your due diligence, be obedient to your calling, and just follow through. Because I think the hardest part is to say, hey, that was a dumb idea. People might not believe it, but you do it anyways and you find success through it is so gratifying. Anytime I'm ever driving and I've ever seen someone wearing a Throne of Grace shirt, I pull over. What's up? How's it going? I love that shirt. How does it make, and if I have any merchandise on me, here's some free stuff, man. Thank you for supporting the brand. Cause I know that it was just a thought. It could have been successful. It couldn't have, but the fact that it materialized and it's a product that people enjoy, that not only are they enjoying it, but that person walking around is now sharing the good news of the gospel and God's grace. It's like, there's no other feeling. So I think for me, that's above the money, above the sitting at fashion shows front row. It's about that. People enjoying something that you created in your mind.
That was a fun night too, by the way.
Which is actually tomorrow. I don't know when this is going to air, but Fashion Week is tomorrow. So I'll be front row and cheering on somebody else in hopes that they can find their glory moment. So it's before.
Man, that's inspiring to me. I think that, the same way people are scared to invest or things like that because it's unknowing, the same fear is being an entrepreneur. Is a lot of people are scared of, they don't know what it entails, so those human fears come into everything we do, man. And so what got you, did you ever have any of those type of fears when you were starting out, or do you have them even to this day? Were you doubt or something or anything?
Every day, right? Because as a creative, you're really, again, you're tapping into your heart and you're putting your thoughts and a bit of your soul into everything you do, and you're creating it and you enjoy it. You love it. You're like, this is my baby. And then to put it out and people are like not gravitating towards it, that hurts.
Yeah.
Right. That's like your son getting picked last during intramurals.
Yeah.
It hurts a little bit. Like,
probably takes a little hit.
It does, right? I've never seen that because my son is a pretty awesome athlete, but I was that little chunky kid who got picked last, right? So I understand what that feels like, but you, as a creative, you're putting your work out there and it's being judged by people left and right. And no one holds any bars back. And we have a thing called the internet where people can hide back and say what they want to and start schemes and rumors and stuff. So that's always the struggle for sure, is like, how are people going to receive it? Are they going to be nice to it? Are they going to nurture it? Or are they just going to step all over it and show it gratitude? So yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love to hear it, man. It's inspiring, bro, for real.
Yeah, no, it's good. But let's get back into it, right? I want to learn some more about finances because you're really hitting the mark for me, drilling things home.
All right.
So I guess I would ask you, what is one major financial mistake you see people my age or in my situation make most often, and how can we avoid it?
Well, should I answer that question based off the age that I know you are or the age that you look? Because
this is
how should I answer the question? Because you look 28 and I know you're not 28, damn it.
Hey, no.
It's offensive to me, FYI. And it hurts my feelings because I don't age like you. It's upsetting.
Yeah, no. Let me not take this hat off.
I'll say this much. I'm going to answer that twofold. One is we spend way too much money.
Yeah.
I say we because I've done it. But most people your age, both 28 and 43, they spend too much money. We're not taught how to budget. We spend more than we make. When we get raises, we buy new cars and we spend more money. We don't save. That's probably the biggest mistake most people make of both 28-year-olds and 43-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay. Of any age. And then the other part is we don't start. The biggest mistake that people make is they never started investing even in small amounts early. Like, I think a mandatory thing right out of high school, right when you get your first paying job. As soon as you start paying taxes, the first thing you should be required to do is open a Roth IRA and invest in index funds. I mean, $100 a month, $200. You can only put 7,000 into a Roth IRA. So, but you could start when you're young at 16, 17 with your first job. It should be mandatory that we put $100 into that account every single month. That we just build that habit. And then just, so those are the two things, man. We spend, we spend way too much money as Americans, just as a whole. And then, we just we don't save or invest any of it.
Yeah.
And so, we've got to get a hold of the keeping up with the Joneses stuff and the having to have the latest and greatest car, or having to have the latest and greatest phone, and having to have the latest, and we should have the latest and greatest fashion though. I will say that. We should have the latest and greatest throne of grace.
Right.
But outside of that, we don't need the latest and great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just don't. And so that's what a lot of people fall into. So I'll answer it that way.
And I think people would have that misconception too. They're like, well, you're a designer, you're into fashion, you probably spend a lot of money on fashion. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, for one, I didn't get into fashion to buy other people's brands.
Yeah.
To put me in more debt per se.
Yeah.
I love what I create, so I wear that 98% of the time. But I don't go out. I think it's foolish because I also know how much it costs these designers and these boutiques and these houses to make these particular items, that it's like, if you realize how much that actually costs and how much you're paying for it, it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
You wouldn't let anyone do you dirty like that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happening. They're for $2 t-shirt and they're selling it to you for $400. That's a lot to you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that happens all over the place.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's ask this question. What advice would you give to a up and coming entrepreneur, or somebody who wants to go down that path in life? What advice would you give to somebody like that?
I think the best advice I could probably give to someone is the advice that I had to give myself, which is get out of your own way. And what I mean by that is like you're in your own head half the time. Nothing is stopping you but you, right? You have this thought, you have this concept. The only thing that's pushing you or stopping you is fear of not being accepted, fear of it failing, fear of what people are going to say. And it's like, that stuff's going to happen regardless. Right. And I think on the last podcast, the gentleman, he had some great insight. And I wish I was more like him. He made the comment of him having more success than failure. And I thought that was incredible, the way he was able to learn to navigate that. But for me, or for a creative per se, you're probably going to have a lot more failure than you are going to have success. I'm going to do 10 to 15 shirt designs, and only 2 of them are going to hit.
Yeah.
So what I would encourage them is get out of your own way. Just start it. Just put your one foot in front of the next and get it started, right? You don't need the best equipment. You don't need the greatest and latest. You don't need the influencers. Just start somewhere, right? And especially if it's in fashion, create one shirt. See how that does amongst your own circle, amongst your own friends. Post it, get feedback. It's so simple to start, but people let fear capture them. So I would say, as an entrepreneur, just get out of your own way and do it. It sounds crazy because you're telling somebody something so simple, but that's what it is, right? Example, I used to go to Phoenix Fashion with my wife every year. That was our automatic date night. No matter how busy, we were going to Phoenix Fashion Week. And I'm sitting there the whole time like, why am I up there? I'm just as good, if not better, than some of these designers. But year after year, here I am sitting in the audience instead of participating, until I got out of my own way and said, you know what? No, I'm worthy of being on that stage. And the first year I got accepted to do it, I won it.
Yeah.
But if I still stayed in that fear and stayed, oh, well, I need more influencers to sponsor me. I need more, I need Egyptian cotton, like Michael wears, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's so maybe cliche and ridiculous, but it's like, just do it.
Yeah.
Start basic.
I like it. I think the same fear happens when, you said something about how it sounds so simple that I should, it's so weird for me to say something so simple.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with money.
Yeah.
I'm saying save money.
Right. Right.
Hey,
like,
don't spend more money than you make.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds pretty simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
but it's so easy to get lost in the sauce, bro. It's so easy to get lost in the day to day, and I need to get that now. And the mind is a powerful thing, man.
What if people think I'm broke?
Yeah. And bro, that will motivate you to act real crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think we both say the same thing. We're saying simple stuff, but the problem is that we find ways of justifying stuff that we shouldn't be justifying. You know what I mean?
And I guess that's another thing I would say is, right, like you gave the advice early on. Hold yourself accountable, understand your finances, understand what's going out, what's going in. As an entrepreneur, pay attention to that stuff, because you can easily get swept up in the excitement of, it has movement, right? Like you're like, I'm excited it has movement. I don't care what's going on. I'm not writing none. I mean, I keep receipts. I'm not. So yeah, I would take the advice if you just offer in the beginning of this is saying, you know what, like, do your due diligence. It's not about the creativity, but it's also about the business that's going to sustain your ability to be creative.
You're not going to be creative if you can't manage the whole thing, you know? And so the freedom of being creative comes with being responsible.
Sure.
You know?
So yeah. So once that money comes in, don't be afraid. And I guess once that money does come in, what should people do with it? Right. I guess if I'm going to pose another or final question to you, it would be like, say someone has high interest, like debt, like a credit card. Should they pay that off first, or should they start investing? Like, what's the smarter move, right? You made a little movement in your entrepreneurship efforts, or what should they do?
Well, debt is one. I hate debt, so I would say attack that first, and I'll go a little bit deeper with that. Think about it from an analogy that we talked about the index funds and how they make 10.5, an average of about 10.4, 10.5% every year. Well, if I'm paying 28% interest on $10,000, right? Because a credit card is real quickly 28%.
Yeah.
So and that's compounding interest, for the record. The same way compounding growth works for you, compounding interest works against you. So if we're paying 28% interest on credit card debt, and I have $10,000 of credit card debt, what sense would it make for me to put that $10,000 into an index fund that's making 10.4? It's still a net negative of 18%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you got to attack that first. You got to get that out. You got to cut the head off the snake. All right.
An experience.
Because again, investing is important, but saving is important, and budgeting is important, and getting debt free is important. And I will tell you, having been debt free for a long time, it's, after being in a lot of debt for a long time, let me say both sides of that coin. The empowerment that comes from not owing anybody money is a blessing that I wish for just everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it just not owing nobody. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know you. I don't know you a dime.
No.
And the power that comes from that is when you've done that and you paid off all that high interest debt, now you have if you can stay disciplined.
Sure.
Because the biggest thing in investing is being disciplined and being patient. Being disciplined to keep putting money in, and being patient to let it grow. We live in a society where everybody wants to get rich quick.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Everybody wants to buy lottery tickets and bet on bet on football or basketball, and we fall for scams where people are like, oh, we'll make you a millionaire in a year or in 2 months. Real wealth doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
Real wealth happens slowly with discipline and patience. So when you get to be debt free after you've gotten, that's a painful process to get there. But once you get there, now if you stay disciplined to how much money you've been putting into it, now you flip it. And now I'm taking that $500 a month I was paying every month to put into paying off this credit card. Yeah. But now it's going to be easy for you to be like, oh, now I got $500 to spend.
Right?
No. That's how we got it.
Let it work.
That's how we got in the problem. That's how we got in the mess to begin with.
Right.
So now we say, okay, I've been spending $500. I paid this off now. Now I'm going to put this $500 into my brokerage account.
That's good.
And I'm going to build up my emergency fund.
Yeah.
And that's why I said we want to put it in that fund so we can build that behavior. And then once you get your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months, of money available to you of your bills. Now we're putting that all into, if you want to do index funds, if you want to research and do your own stocks, I mean, there's investment opportunities all around us. Every time you go to the grocery store and put a bunch of stuff in your grocery cart, you ever think about who owns those companies and how much money you give them? And maybe you should buy stock in those companies because maybe you can start paying yourself.
Right.
Those are just some thoughts. Those are just things that cross my mind.
Yeah. So I need to invest in little Debbie's because
when I hit that aisle,
Well, Google Little Debbie's, get a ticker, and you're good to go.
yeah, the zebra and the oatmeal cakes at home.
I get it.
So
I get it. So, but that's the biggest thing, man, is, and that's what I want everybody to take from this channel. One, I want people to be inspired by entrepreneurs.
sure.
Two, I want people to be inspired by being debt free or trying to get to, I want people to be encouraged
Yeah.
to get debt free.
Right.
If you're not debt free, I want you to be inspired to never get in debt. But regardless, we all go through our own journeys. It takes time to get where we're going.
Yeah.
It's easy to learn from others' mistakes, but also sometimes we got to take it on the chin.
Right.
Sometimes we just have to, my mother always called me hard headed. So, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. When my mind's made up, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
That's a good and a bad thing. Because if my mind's set on a bad thing, then that's going to happen.
Right.
So, there's power in saving money. There's power in investing your money. And really, I think, a lot of people work jobs they hate.
Sure.
And they don't take the chance to be an entrepreneur because they got themselves in so much debt because they needed a scat pack. You know what I mean?
Scat pack.
We need to have a scat pack. And then now we have a guy driving a scat pack to work at AAA,
Upset.
every single day, mad as hell. And he's doing that. He or she, is doing that so they can pay for the $800 scat pack monthly payment.
Right.
What I want people to get to a point where you should want to put yourself in a position where if you don't like your job or you don't like your manager or you don't like how they're treating you or you don't like how life is going,
Right.
then you can stop.
Sure. Yeah.
And you can change direction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that if you don't have money saved.
Yeah. And I think that's one reoccurring thing I'm learning from not only this podcast, but watching all of your podcasts is there's freedom, right? And it's not just individual freedom because I sit here as a husband, as a father, and being able to do these things aren't just affecting me and aren't benefiting just me. They're benefiting my family and my family's family. So the more I stand around you, the more my stock is going up, and so my knowledge is going up. So
I would be afraid if you do a Tony James IPO. I would be one of the first buyers. I promise you. I would invest it all day long.
Oh man, I mean,
when Throne of Grace goes public, bro, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
No, and I truly mean that. I think what you're doing is breaking chains, generational curses of people who've come where we've come from, and maybe not even where we've come from, who have learned bad habits, who have learned to put themselves in holes that they can't dig themselves out of. So what you're doing is financial, social work, community service. It's all in one. And I don't think people realize that. So, I mean, I applaud you. I thank you for what you be, and what you've done for me. So keep it up, dude. This is incredible.
I appreciate it.
Money matures and so do individuals. And that's why I'm mad. I'm better because of you. So thank you.
And and you inspire me, too, my friend. I've told you this before, man. I've told you, and I told you this about you and your son and your daughter and your whole family. When y'all walk into a room, man, the energy is contagious. And I love it, man. And I love being around people like you because it's just, I could be pissed off.
Yeah.
And I see you, bro, and I'm like, man, let me go talk to Tony. I'll tell my band, let me go talk to Tony real quick. Tony, get me right.
Yeah, we running across bleachers.
Yeah, we will.
Across bleachers. So
I won't mess the toe box up, but we will run. I'll do it briskly, right?
Briskly in the
But but man, I've had so much fun with you today, man. This has been, a passion project I've wanted to put together for a while, and I finally just got the time to put it together. And, you're my second guest, and, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day from your family, from your busy work. And so we're looking forward to seeing what other growth you have. And, everybody out there, man, I hope that you've got something from us. If you're a young entrepreneur or an old entrepreneur and you can learn something from Tony, I hope you can. Along the way, I hope you learn something about finances, about money, and just about things that we can do better with it. But at the end of the day, that's the whole point of this podcast, is to generate questions and encourage people to move forward to a better financial future and increase financial literacy across the board. So, what I always like to say is, at the end of I've started this little thing at the end of my videos: stop playing and start stacking.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's simple.
It's simple.
It's simple. Money matures.
Money matures, but it never grows in a straight line. That's also a key one as well. So anyway, if you're on, please like, subscribe, share, follow his page. When I post it, I'll have his page on there. Follow Throne of Grace. Great product, great business, great. I have a few different, and he does, man. If you take care of him and he sees you, he will give you a free sweater. I'm telling you, I got one. So, anyway, please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for joining, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.